The Laws of Human Nature is a self-help book by Robert Greene, which examines the psychological and social dynamics of human interaction. Here are the laws. 1. Understand people's motivations. 2. Recognize the power of projection. 3. Be aware of the different types of people. 4. Practice mindfulness and self-awareness. 5. Learn to read the signs. 6. Develop emotional intelligence. 7. Learn the art of persuasion. 8. Learn to recognize manipulation. 9. Learn to be assertive. Do note that the author presents these laws as general principles and not as hard and fast rules. The book presents a set of principles that can be used to understand the behavior of others and to navigate the complexities of human relationships. Here is a bit more information on the laws. 1. Understand people's motivations. The author argues that in order to understand the behavior of others, it is important to understand their underlying motivations and desires. He suggests looking beyond surface-level behavior to identify the underlying emotional and psychological drives that motivate people. 2. Recognize the power of projection. The author emphasizes the importance of recognizing the ways in which people project their own fears, desires, and insecurities onto others. He suggests that by recognizing projection in others, we can avoid being influenced by it. 3. Be aware of the different types of people. The author identifies different types of people, such as the charmer, the manipulator, and the narcissist, and provides strategies for dealing with each type. 4. Practice mindfulness and self-awareness. The author encourages readers to practice mindfulness and self-awareness in order to better understand their own emotions and motivations, and to avoid being controlled by them. 5. Learn to read the signs. The author advises readers to pay attention to nonverbal cues and to learn to read the signs of other people's behavior. 6. Develop emotional intelligence. The author emphasizes the importance of developing emotional intelligence, which he defines as the ability to understand, manage, and use emotions effectively. 7. Learn the art of persuasion. The author provides strategies for persuasion and influence, and emphasizes the importance of understanding the psychology of persuasion and the ways in which people can be influenced. 8. Learn to recognize manipulation. The author provides strategies for recognizing manipulation and avoiding being controlled by others. 9. Learn to be assertive. The author encourages readers to be assertive and to set boundaries in order to protect their own interests. The book uses a combination of personal anecdotes, historical examples, and references to scientific research to illustrate the principles outlined in the book. Here are a few examples. 1. The story of Florence Nightingale. The author references Florence Nightingale, the founder of modern nursing, as an example of a person who understood the motivations of others. He argues that Nightingale was able to understand the emotional needs of her patients and was able to communicate with them in a way that made them feel seen and heard, which led to her success as a nurse. 2. The story of Machiavelli. The author references the political philosopher Niccolò Machiavelli, as an example of a person who understood the importance of recognizing the power of projection. He argues that Machiavelli understood that people project their own fears, desires, and insecurities onto others and was able to use this understanding to his advantage in his political dealings. 3. The story of Marie Curie. The author references Marie Curie, the chemist and physicist, as an example of a person who was able to recognize manipulation and avoid being controlled by others. He argues that Curie was able to recognize manipulation in the scientific community and was able to maintain her integrity and independence despite the pressures of her peers. 4. Othello, the protagonist of Shakespeare's play, is used as an example of how jealousy and envy can lead to our undoing. The book explains how Othello's jealousy and envy of Cassio, who he believes is having an affair with his wife, causes him to make a series of tragic mistakes that ultimately lead to his own downfall. The book uses the example of Othello to illustrate how emotions like jealousy and envy can cloud our judgment and lead us to act in ways that are contrary to our own best interests. 5. Benjamin Franklin, the famous statesman and inventor, is used as an example of someone who mastered the art of persuasion. The book explains how Franklin used his powers of persuasion to build alliances and gain support for his political and social goals. The book also examines how Franklin used his powers of persuasion to create a positive public image for himself, which helped him to achieve his goals. 6. Nero, the Roman emperor, is used as a classic example of a person who lacks self-awareness and has a tendency to blame others for his own mistakes. The book explains how Nero's lack of self-awareness led him to make a series of poor decisions that ultimately led to his downfall. The book also examines how Nero's tendency to blame others for his own mistakes, rather than taking responsibility for them, further exacerbated his problems. The book uses Nero's example to illustrate how lack of self-awareness can lead to poor decision-making and how blaming others can prevent us from learning from our mistakes. The book also highlights the importance of understanding and reading people and provides strategies for reading people's behavior, emotions, and intentions. Here is a summary of those strategies. 1. Pay attention to nonverbal cues, such as body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice. These can provide information about a person's true emotions and intentions. 2. Pay attention to a person's patterns of behavior. It can be possible to identify a person's habits, tendencies, and weaknesses. 3. Pay attention to people's actions rather than their words. 4. Be aware of your own biases and assumptions when trying to read other people. 5. Practice active listening, which involves paying close attention to what someone is saying, and asking open-ended questions to encourage them to elaborate on their thoughts and feelings. These strategies take time and practice to master, and it's important to approach them with a healthy dose of skepticism and objectivity. It's important to remember that these strategies are not foolproof, and that people are complex and can have multiple motivations. This summary was brought to you by them folks at Wisdom Slice, bringing you your Fresh Wizzy slice. Feel free to join our online communities and do hit up our book nerd team with any books you would like us to summarize for you. And we'd be more than happy to deliver your next fresh wisdom slice. Peace out and much love. Ciao for now, amigos.